Right. Sounds
Good day. This is Amber Narro on KSLU's 90.9 FM. I'm here today with Coach Scelfo. We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank y'all for having me on. Appreciate it.
Also, today on Point of View, I've invited two guest hosts. I've got Adam Cortez as well as Connor Ferrill, and we're going to be talking to Coach today about some game time stuff. But we're really here to talk about the coach and talk about students at Southeastern and how we need to get excited about our first home game tonight at Strawberry Stadium, right?
Yeah, it's. I think I want the country to really see what our student body is really like. Our university is unique. We have a, when you walk around campuses, and last year we played a lot of different schools, and you walk around campuses and you see as we're going through, kind of like the student body and then the way the campus is configured. Ours is just so unique. We play in an historic stadium, Strawberry Stadium, but our campus is. We've got a lot of green space. We got a lot of. As I walk around there, there's a lot of energy that goes on campus. I don't know. I want the student body to bring that to Strawberry Stadium tonight in front of our football team. In front of the nation, really.
I agree. I see that in the classroom as well with our students. They're excited to be here. They're excited to learn. They love Southeastern.
Yep.
So that's one of the great things that we have. We had some people on campus last week visiting, and we were all kind of talking after the meetings were over with, and they said, it's so great. You're at a school like Southeastern at this size of a university, and everybody walking around is wearing green and gold.
It is. And on Tuesdays, when you wear green and gold Tuesdays, we'll drive around campus in a golf cart and hand out prizes and stuff like that. And we run out so fast because everybody's got it on. Everybody's representing the university. I mean, we got something on. You don't see a lot of other schools being represented on our university like you do in other campuses. And I think that's a tribute to the student body themselves.
Right, absolutely. Now, Coach, I have to say, you've been here now for a year, right? And you're going into your second season here.
Right.
And every time I look at you, you've got this grin on your face, like you are holding a secret, man. You look happy to be here.
I am happy to be here. Think about it. I've been, in my career, I've been all over the country. So I've traveled. My wife and I have coached at places from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, from junior high to the NFL. But this was an opportunity to come home. I mean, I'm born and raised in this state in New Iberia, and so it was an opportunity for me to come home. So why wouldn't I wake up happy every day, get to come to a place like this every day, knowing that everything's on the up and up. We're moving forward. We're climbing. We're going to grow. I just think everything's in front of us right now. So it's exciting for me.
Absolutely. Now, you talk about traveling around the country with your career, but you've also had a family of athletes as well, yes?
Yes, we have. We've been kind of fortunate that, I come from 8 brothers and sisters. And
Good
all
night.
of us, there's a lot of us. It was tough around the dinner table sometimes, and it was.
How many boys fighting over that?
There's 5 boys and 3 girls,
Oh.
and Mom and Dad did a great job with us. We all graduated from college. We're all working in our profession.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Congrats.
it's a tribute to our parents.
Sure.
They instilled stuff in us that we still carry on today, and hopefully we pass it along to our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and you've been able to kind of watch that in your kids as well. They
both had a Tulane graduate and a UIW graduate. So both of those guys are doing a good job. They're working 2 sons, and we're really proud of them. And I'll be a grandfather in January. So we got some great news not too long ago.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What are they going to call you? Like Coachy, Poppy?
I'm not in charge of that part. I think, So I think usually it's the first thing that comes out the baby's mouth ends
That's
up
what
sticking.
my mother said.
Yeah. So whatever happens. I'm excited about it. My wife and I are really excited about having a grandbaby.
Very good. Now, one more question from me before I turn it over to these two. But when you are, both of your sons went through athletics in school.
Correct.
And I have a question for you because I know as a professor that it changed my outlook when my kids actually came through and graduated from college. My approach, sometimes even with my students, changed as they were going through. How did watching your kids go through as athletes kind of affect your coaching?
Well, I always felt like that whoever was coaching my kids was doing the best that they could do, that they didn't have an agenda.
Yeah.
And I've always approached it that way. So I stayed out of it. We were complete fans. We bought tickets and we sat in the stands and we pulled for them to do the best they could. We hope that their team would win. Selfishly, you want your kid to play.
Yes.
But if he didn't, that's okay. You know, we wanted to make sure they had fun and enjoyed the game. And I think the approach that we used from that standpoint really helped our kids because it didn't put them in conflict. I think too many times parents kind of live that career through their kids, and it puts the kid in conflict as to where the loyalty is, to the team or to my mom and dad. So we wanted to stay away from that, and we let them go, let them play. They had a great time, good careers, and they're happy and well adjusted now, I think.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So students here, let's put out a kind of a PSA about tonight's game.
Yeah, man, get out there.
Stadium.
Come on. Come out there. Come see the atmosphere. Jacksonville State's ranked 6th in the country. It'll be a national television game. We'll have everybody there. You'll be broadcast all weekend long through, not only tonight, but Friday, Saturday during game day, things like that. We'll have a lot of people in the stadium. We just want to show what Southeastern's about, what Hammond America's about, and get a big win over a ranked team.
Very good. All right. Now, my guest hosts today have a couple of questions for you, so I'm going to let them kind of take over from here.
Awesome.
Gentlemen?
I'm curious. You just came from San Antonio, just barely 2 years ago, and now, so how does Hammond America kind of stack up to the sights and sounds of the Alamo and the Riverwalk, and what's the feel? What's the difference?
Well, it's completely different. One, you got San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the country. Hammond, I don't think, is in the top 10. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's in the top 10. But what you do is that when you walk around here, and I'm not saying you know everybody, but you feel like you know everybody. Everybody's really friendly. Everybody's nice. Not that San Antonio was not like that. This is more home for me. Growing up in New Iberia was a smaller town. We knew a lot of people there, but people were very friendly. Same thing here. You go to church on Sundays. You walk downtown on Saturdays or Fridays or Thursdays. You seem to know people. The people that own the restaurants. You know the people that own the stores, and you get a chance to meet them and talk to them, and you see them outside of those businesses. So when that atmosphere is created, it feels more home for you. So that's the comfort feeling that you get, and a lot of students don't realize that. You're going to go off and you want to go to the big city and you want to do all those nice things, but sooner or later you're going to come back and you say, you know what, this is pretty cool right here.
How does that close-knitness kind of transfer over to your football team? Your O-line coach, A.J. Hopp, is talking about they can take pride in trusting your O-line. So what is that family aspect kind of like on
just
team?
Think about it. You trust the people that you trust the most are the people that you're closest to, and then you know the best. Well, in a family-type atmosphere, that's your brothers and sisters. Well, for us as players or as a football team, that's our brothers out there. So we spend a lot of time together. During fall camp, we started every morning at 6 a.m., and we finished every night at 9:30. And then sometimes those guys went back to the same apartment or dorm rooms with our players. But we spent 13 and a half hours together every day, all day. We ate meals. We went to meetings. We went to practices. We did that all day. So you develop a kinship. There's a family-type relationship that we develop, and that's what he's talking about. And you got to trust that guy next to you. You got to show genuine love that people will make mistakes, and sometimes it's tough love. But then you're not giving up on them. You're going to continue to push forward and make them better, and them to make you better.
Absolutely.
Still staying on that O-line, you've got a pretty stacked O-line. They're ranked, doing well for themselves. And then you got your sophomore running back. Is he still injured, or is he's redshirted right now? But he was getting 10 yards a carry when he was playing. So 1+1, in football terms, you're gonna end up doing some pretty good running in the games.
Well, I think so. A lot of time that's dictated by how the defense plays, but Marcus Cooper is the guy you're referring to. As a freshman, he really had a great freshman year. He's explosive. That was the year prior to me getting here. And then as a sophomore, he was still hindered by the injury. He had surgery, had knee surgery, and he was still working to get back from that. And this past season, so he didn't have the year that he wanted. So we redshirted him, and then this past spring and summer, he's really blossomed. He's put himself in a position physically where he's ready, and I think mentally he's ready to do what he needs to do. Devontae Williams is the other running back. So we've got two guys back there we feel good about, and I think our offensive line has really come together. We've changed philosophies, and those guys are coming together by understanding what we're trying to do now. So, yeah, well, I feel confident we're going to run the ball well. But I also know that defensively they can always take that away from you, which allows us to take advantage in the pass game. But we've got to get the ball into those two guys' hands. We've got to make sure that they get their touches during the course of a game because, like you said, they are explosive.
Right.
And that's where you create the energy for your crowd
There
to
you
come
go.
out
Big
and
plays,
watch you,
right?
Well,
Big
yes,
play.
absolutely.
Everybody loves that.
You
So-
got a quarterback throwing 3,000 yards, last season. And so you got the run, you got the pass, and so with a solid nucleus on offense and defense, how are you bringing in recruits? What are you selling them on?
Well, we bring them to campus, and they see campus, and they're just blown away. New Orleans seems like it's really close, but when we bring a high school guy up from New Orleans or from the river parishes or from Baton Rouge, they've never been to campus. There's a wow factor here, and I think sometimes our students take it for granted. We have a unique campus, and like I told you, I've been around a lot of different campuses, but we got a cool place here where people can come, and there is a wow factor when you look at the buildings and the landscaping and the job that Dr. Crane has overseen the development of the campus. So once we get them into the stadium, I think that's the easy part. The getting them here and getting them on campus is the tough thing, but once we get them on here, the campus sells itself.
And they've got an excited home crowd as well. So that's a good core group of people from the community who come, a large core group.
Yeah, we do.
Community
And we see the same people at a lot of different things, and it's starting to grow, though. We're starting to see new faces coming in and new people, new faces that want to get involved, buying season tickets and showing up at things. And I think that's the best part. We lost, unfortunately, we shut down the program, so we lost a generation of fans during that time period, right? Well, that's been a gradual buildup, but you're starting to see that. I saw from year one now to year two, as we traveled around on our caravan and the coaches' caravan and stuff, we saw some new faces and met some new people, and the excitement is building. I want our student body to fill up the other side, man, behind their bench, do whatever they're supposed to do within the rules of the stadium. Have a great tailgating experience. Everybody come together, come on inside, and just create havoc. I got to say this in certain ways. I can't say what I want to say, but I want them to create havoc on the opposing team, which is Jacksonville State tonight. I want them to get out there. Man, look, I know you probably got class. Some of them have night classes. I'm not saying to skip them. I would. I'm not saying to skip them. I'm not saying that, Dr. Crane. But, I want the students back there, man, just raising heck all over the place. I think it'd be awesome.
Definitely. Very good.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly with your sentiment about the campus and the student body. So I'm actually from out of state. I'm an athlete on the track team. And when I came here, I came on a visit, and it blew me away. It was my 5th visit, so I wasn't putting a whole ton of stock into it. And as soon as I came, I never left. I committed the next day.
Wow.
And that was it. That was it for my college
That's
career.
a great story, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful campus.
Yeah. And that's what he was talking about, that the hardest thing is to get them here. But once we get them here, the campus helps sell itself, so that's pretty cool.
I don't think people
Our provost says
realize
the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize just how true that is.
Yeah,
With the
well, we
campus,
take it
the
for
draw.
granted. A lot of times you take things for granted. You go, well, this is where I go, and, well, it's just Southeastern, or it's just that. Well, when you go to other places and you start looking around, you go, wow, we do have it pretty good right here. So let's take advantage of it. Let's grow it. Let's nurture it. Let's make it even better than what it is.
Absolutely. So shifting gears a little bit, you talked about the quarterback position earlier, the most important position on the field. And we have a returner in Chase and Virgil that was near the top of the country in passing yards last year. I believe he led FCS.
He did.
And all offseason, I've heard just how much he's improved as both a leader and as a player. Can you talk a little bit about Chasen's internal improvement?
Yeah, I think where he's grown the most, he's talented, you can't play this game at this level without having the talents that you need to have. So where's the difference? What's the difference between a really good player and a guy that's kind of average? Well, it's the mental approach and how you learn and how you approach things, and that's what he's done. He's taken that part to, I think, to a new level. Film study, becoming a leader, understanding that he's got to give more of his time to others, but to do that, he's got to be more of a student of a game than he had been in the past. It was always, I got to take care of myself. You got to remember, he came into a new situation the same time that I did. So he was kind of feeling his way through. And he wasn't sure about the locker room or the dynamics of the team yet. And we went through that first season, and he won the quarterback job, the starting job. And he went through that first season and really struggled at times. Not so much on the field, which there were we had some issues on the field with turnovers and things like that, but off the field with the lack of camaraderie and the culture that really wasn't what we wanted. And I think when that clock hit zero in the Nichols game and we looked up at the scoreboard and it was as bad as it could possibly be, he took it upon himself to say this is not going to happen again. And he spent his entire offseason, the spring, the summer, fall camp, and that's why tonight is so exciting for me to see him blossom into somebody that I think he's going to grow into. So that's where he's grown the most. Not that his arm got any stronger, he's got faster, or none of that stuff. It's how he's grown mentally.
That's pretty cool. Do you think that the competition with Arkansas transfer Cole Kelly had anything to do with his step up and mentally and physically in his approach to the game?
I think anytime you have competition, you sharpen yourself. I mean, that's we pride ourselves on bringing in as many guys as we can to compete with everybody. We don't want anybody to be comfortable at any time. So we don't want anybody to just say, well, this is my job and I got it and I can sit back and relax. That's not how you build a championship team. So we bring in as many guys as we can to create a culture of competition all the time, every day. Well, Cole did that. Cole came in, has competed, worked his tail off, put himself in a position to possibly be a starter. And but I think Chasen will be the starter tonight, which means he's won that job. Now he's got to keep that job. He's got to play well all year long. He's got to play well week in and week out because he knows there's a guy sitting right over there looking over his shoulder saying, I want to play too. And we want that at every position, not just the quarterback position. We were like that at every spot. So the deeper we get, the more people that we have competing for starting jobs, the better we're all going to be. We always talk about steel sharpening steel. So we want to have the best players working against the best players week in and week out. And when we go play an opponent, maybe, we'll feel a lot more comfortable being on the field with them.
Is there any possibility that we see a 2-quarterback system at some point in the year? Both of them seeing the
I don't
field?
know if it'll be a system, but I think you'll see Cole playing. So I don't know if it'll be one series in, one series not out. I'm not really big on that, but I think there's a situation where there are situations where Cole could come in and play. As the season goes on, you'll either see more or less depending on how the game plan and the opponent, things like that. So, yeah, I think you could definitely see stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see a lot of uses for a 6'7" quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for him was getting a jersey big enough to fit him, number 15.
Nice.
So, but Cole's done a good job. He came from. And he said it in the team meeting the other day. He came to the University of Arkansas, which is obviously a beautiful school, an SEC school. They've got everything you need. And he came here and he said, there's just a family-type atmosphere that we have here, not only in the football locker room, but on campus as well. So there's a guy that's, like you said, coming in from out of state. He's from Lafayette, but he went up to Arkansas. So he experienced, so-called big time. And came here and said, man, we got a nice place here. And he shared that with the team, which made a lot of guys on the team kind of open their eyes and say, maybe we got it pretty good here. So I think his impact has really been a positive one on our football team.
So turning to the attention to tonight's game, JSU is ranked 6th in the country. They've made the playoffs 6 straight years. I saw in your press conference you said that you wanted games like this in your out-of-conference schedule. Can you explain that mentality?
Yeah, you look across the country, the top teams are playing each other. They're meeting at different places. We have an opportunity to play them right here in Hammond, in Strawberry Stadium. So for us, it's a great situation because we get to measure ourselves. If we want to be like that, if we want to be – when you look at FCS, you talk about James Madison, you talk about North Dakota State, who's won, 4 of the last 5 or 5 of the last 6 national championships. You talk about Jacksonville State, a perennial in the playoffs on a national scene. Well, we want to be there. Well, for us to be there, we got to go play those guys, and we got to win. And so I think that's where, when I say we embrace it, we welcome it, we want it. We want to play those guys. Now, we'll have a great measuring stick at the end of the game. If it doesn't work out for us from a win-loss standpoint, we'll learn a great deal from it. We'll learn what our deficiencies are. We'll learn where we feel like we match up pretty well with us. But we have to measure ourselves against something, and why not go measure ourselves against the best that they got out there? And then right now, that's Jacksonville State for us. And then when we get to conference play, you see teams like Nicholls State who are starting to turn this thing around. Lamar, UIW, 3 playoff games. You got to remember, this season we got 5 home games. 4 of them are against teams who were in the playoffs last year. So our home schedule for our student body and our fans is going to be dynamic from that standpoint. They're going to see some great football. All of them have starting quarterbacks that are coming back. So there's some explosions that's going to take place on offense, including us. And so I think it's an opportunity for a lot of people to really enjoy a great season here in Strawberry Stadium.
Absolutely. And talk about that, how important it is for the student base to come out and support that effort on Thursday night. And on tonight and every Thursday night that we play at home, and every Saturday, it's every game.
Yeah, it's that energy. Look, 18 to 22-year-old college campus people are just nuts, man. They are out of control when they want to be, and that's what I want. I want that. I know. Well, and I want that. I mean, we've spent when I was out at Arizona, we had the Zona Zoo, and it was 10,000 students, and they stood in line to get those 10,000 spots right behind the opponent bench, and they were fantastic. And that's what I want here. I want to make this, just a happening for our student body.
Man,
and
I love it when they start
them to come out there, listen, they will go nuts, and I want that. I mean, I think our band is like that. Our band's kind of crazy. Derek Stoughton and that group over there, man, they do a heck of a job. So they're going to go nuts. They're going to do a great job. I want the students there doing a great job. I want them. They have to be nice in what they say to the bench on the other team, but I guess, I don't know, stay within the framework of the rules.
Don't get kicked out.
Yeah, don't get kicked out of the stadium, but push the envelope. I don't think you have to drive 55 every time. You can go 57 or 58 every now and then, but I don't want you to drive 40, right? I don't want you to drive 40, man. Get in there and let's go. And the excitement that they bring and energy that they bring, our team's going to feed off of it now.
It's important.
We are going to feed off of it. We're going to feel that, and so will Jacksonville State tonight.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the scariest aspect of your team is? What do you think other teams look at and they're like, oh, we got to watch out for that?
I'm hoping that we become a balanced football team where offensively, defensively, special teams wise, all of those things are stuff they have to prepare for. That when it's just like us preparing for Jacksonville State. We're not looking at them going, well, we're going to be able to run the football because they're weak up front on defense, or it's easy to stop the pass because they don't have any great receivers or tight ends. They've got all those things. So when you look at teams like that, you look at teams who are perennial winners, you look at them and say, you know what, they really don't have any weaknesses. We just got to play 60 minutes of solid football. Well, that's what I want our opponents to say. I don't want them to look at us and say, well, this is a whole lot better than that, or this phase of the game is a lot better than that other phase. I want them to look and say, this is a complete football team, well coached, plays hard, they get everything out of them, and we better play 60 minutes or we're going to come out on the wrong end of the stick.
So turning the attention back to the game tonight, their offense is one of the most creative in the country. Yeah. What plans do you guys have to attempt to slow them down? I know they have a quarterback that's projected to win the conference play of the year.
He does their starter does a good job. He's more of a thrower. A big kid that runs the offense, did a great job with him last year. They've got a backup that's dynamic. Probably not as good a passer, but much more dynamic as a runner. And Zarik is the starter. Zion's the backup. They're going to play both of them, we feel like. They haven't told us that because they don't call us and let us know what they're doing. But they're going to play both of them. But I think you'll see the starter would be a guy that you would love to have him on your team as the way he runs the offense, the way he handles himself on the field. He's a really good player. So we know it's going to start and stop with him at the quarterback position. I think their receivers are as good as anybody we're going to play, and they got 2 tight ends who are huge, really good. So the matchup, there's going to be some matchup problems there. And we have to address it. We've addressed it in camp. So we've got a plan for that, and let's execute the plan.
And defensively, all summer they talked about how much this defense has grown. How do you think the defense is going to contain that explosive offense and vice versa?
Yeah, Lance Guidry, our defensive coordinator, has put together a good plan, him and the staff. I think there's a good plan in place. I don't know if you ever stop a team like this, but I think you got to slow them down. And look, at the end of the day, when you get a turnover and you limit the amount of possessions that they have and opportunities they have to score, and give us an extra possession or an extra opportunity to score, then that's a huge benefit for us. So turnovers will be a big part of this game. I think you kind of feel like if you win the turnover battle, you got a much greater chance to win the game. History's shown that, across the board.
Yeah, I mean, last year went 4-7. 3 games were decided by a turnover. So you
Exactly.
flip those 7-4. Looks a whole lot better on
possible
paper.
playoff berth, right? Yeah.
Right.
So those, statistics over time don't lie. They are what they are. And so when you look at us holding on to the football and Chasen doing a good job making decisions with the football in his hand and our running backs and receivers, things like that. And then defensively, we got a chance to have to make an interception, make it. Don't knock it down, make the interception. We got a chance to punch out and get a fumble, do that, So we got to be ball hawks on defense, and we got to really take care of the football on offense.
And last year, you guys did go 4-7, like we just talked about. Probably a bit underwhelming on paper, but you guys showed a lot of flashes. Wins over Lamar, who made the playoffs. You guys pretty much ended McNeese's season in that game. Can you talk a little about the steps you've taken to improve from last year? There was a foundation there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when you watch this last season, we really had some highs. Like you said, beating the Lamar team on the road, really doing a great job against McNeese. We played well against Monroe on the road. We were competitive against LSU in Tiger Stadium. So we had some high moments last year, but we really had some really bad lows. Abilene Christian here at home, when they thrashed us with the run game. Nicholls State, obviously, with the last game was terrible. So when you see a team play really well and then play really poor, that's not the mark of a good team. There's an issue with the culture and how guys handle adversity. And that's what I hope you'll see tonight. I hope you'll see we're going to face adversity because Jacksonville State's a good football team. So they're going to make some plays. Things are going to happen. I want to see how our team's going to handle it from a character standpoint. So I think the culture, when you talk about what's going to be the difference, I think it's the culture that we have right now. And I think that Chasen and Isaac Berglund and a lot of our seniors have really embraced what we want to do and put their personality in the locker room and says, we don't care what happens. Let's go play the next play. So that's what I hope happens. Good teams don't have highs and lows like that. They go up and down, but there's just not that big a drastic change that what we saw last year. And that's why I said we wasn't a good team last year, not because of our talent level, not because of anything like that. It was just our mental approach to who we were and what we were all about. It was more of I guess I could say selfish. I'll be all right with that. But it starts and stops with me. I got to make sure that it doesn't happen like that. So we address it. We'll continue to address it, and we'll continue to work towards a culture that says no matter what happens, we're going to continue pushing forward and playing hard.
You mentioned on Saturday at Media Day about the student athletes really supporting each other, and even if they don't win those positions out, that they're pushing other people and that they are treating it like a brotherhood. And have you seen you've talked a little bit about that in the fall camps, but have you seen that kind of in the locker room and outside of camp as well? That
it's such a beautiful thing to watch one player teaching another. Mm-hmm. Especially at the same position, helping a receiver, helping another receiver run a route that's his backup that could eventually take him and knock him out of that starting spot, and he doesn't care. How Chasen and Cole have competed against each other, but Chasen helping Cole because he's been in a system an extra year. Chasen helping Cole at the quarterback position kind of go through the nuances of it. And knowing that Cole's competing for that spot too and wants that job, but it doesn't matter. They want the team. When you put the team before the individual, things can happen for you. When it's the other way around, it's a complete disaster. When it's individual before team, it'll be a complete disaster. And I think we were there last year with that, whereas now I think we're moving towards the team being the focal point. So when you see guys teaching others, that's when, it brings a smile to your face. I mean, it's a warmth in your heart where you see those guys doing that, sharing the information from one to the other, and going, wow, that was pretty good to watch. Yeah,
that's good coaching there.
No, it's not good coaching. That's just, I think it's guys realizing that we can go a lot further together than we can apart. We can accomplish so much more when we all do things together than we can when we're apart. We can argue and fight with each other and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, we've got to be one team fighting together and pulling the same direction. And kicking Jacksonville State's butt tonight.
Absolutely.
Speaking of kind of a shifting that culture, we talked about offensive leaders and things like that. Who has really risen as a leader on the defense and, kind of brought the guys together?
Isaac Bergman probably has been he's a guy that's been here for 3 years. Last year he played really well in some games, but he's taken it upon himself to do some stuff from a leadership standpoint. And I think Mike Mason, one of our linebackers, he's a senior this year, hadn't played much. And this spring he won the starting job. This summer he was excellent in the weight room. And fall camp he's kind of taken on that leadership role. So I look at those two guys and see what they've done from a cultural standpoint. And when I talked about the team a minute ago, they kind of embraced that idea that together we can all get this thing done, because neither one of them are probably NFL players or anything like that, but they know they can be really good college players, really good special college players, but that our team can be special if we're pushing in the right direction together. So I think those two guys probably have done the most, putting us in a position of where we are now.
Yeah, because if you want those turnovers, that's who's going to spark your guys to go get them. So.
Absolutely. And it's ball hawking, it's running to the ball. Those are high effort, high energy guys. So when you're watching them tonight, you'll be able to see those guys running to the football. They're physical players. So, it'll be fun to watch them. Look, even though I'm the head coach and I stand there on the sidelines, man, I'm a big fan of these guys. I mean, I love watching them play, So camp, to me, has been fun from the standpoint of being able to watch guys grow, watch them do some things that are really special. So I become a fan. I get mad and I get happy and I clap and I smile and get all that stuff,
you
just
smile all
like a
the
fan
time,
would
Coach.
be. Nah, well, you don't come to practice all the time. But I do. I get excited about these guys because I see, I see all the work that they put in. Right, every day, man. I see them waking up and doing what they're doing, getting up early in the morning and going to workouts and then going to class and then study hall and making meetings and practice and going back to study hall in the evenings or going back to class. So I know it's a tough day in life with student athlete. You do it. So it's tough. It's not a easy thing for them to be able to accomplish some stuff and realize some success on the field. Man, it's awesome to watch. So, I'm a big fan of our guys.
Very good. All right, fellas, y'all finished with the coach?
I have one more question. We've talked a lot about adversity and overcoming those struggles and how last year there were a lot of low moments. How much do you think that those low moments and the adversity that you faced last year as a team, as a unit, contributed to this growth in the culture that you're seeing this year?
Yeah, I think the best part about any struggle that you go through, you can always reference it and allows you to grow from it. We all do that in our daily lives. I mean, everybody on a student body has low moments, and you think that this is it. I can't. I'm going to fail. I can't make it. I can't do it. I can't. Well, you can always go back to those things the next time it happens, and you reference it, and you say, you know what? This is how I grew from it. Right. This is how I was able to overcome it. And you use those times in your life to be able to overcome, whether it be adversity, failing a class, failing a test, showing up late for something you knew you should have been on time for, whatever it was. You can always grow from those things. And for us to be able to go back and reference it during times in the spring and the summer and even in fall camp, we reference some times. We referenced the Nickel State game. We referenced Abilene Christian. We referenced those games to say, you know what, here's our mindset. This is what we were doing at this time. Let's don't get there. Let's don't go there. When we start going there, just change it. Now you can feel it. Now you know what it's like. Now you know what contributed to that. Let's stay away from it. Let's go in a different direction. Let's think to McNeese. Let's think to Lamar. Let's think to Monroe. Let's think to LSU. Let's think about the excitement of those games. So tonight against Jacksonville State, they're going to make some plays. We're going to have some adversity. We're going to have some lows. Let's think about how we get out of that, not as we're in it and now we can't get out. Because when you can't get out is when the score gets out of hand. So those teams that are mentally tougher than others are able to bounce back. And that's where a program like Jacksonville State will really test us. Because they feel like they're going to come in here and win because that's what they do. They've been winning for a long time. All their players know is that they win. Well, our guys need to know that we can win. And that if we continue to stay on this path, we will win. Why not? Let's start tonight. Let's get our student body out there tonight. Let's fill up the stands, and let's watch our guys come home with a victory.
Very good. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you. We know you're a very busy man today.
This is cool, man. This is cool. You guys are awesome. This is a great deal. I'm so excited. This thing's getting off the ground, and we're rolling with this.
You.
And I mean, I'll come anytime you guys want. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
No, I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go.
Well, we will
I
have
just
you back.
think this is awesome. Yeah, I'll be sure to come back. But this is so great. Students need to support this and listen. And there's a lot of great information y'all going to be putting out for everybody to be able to come. Things happening on campus and stuff like that. So come on out tonight.
Absolutely. And what Coach is referencing is we're going Facebook Live every day with our students at 4:30, and they are putting out news on campus and around the community. And we just started that effort last week, and it's going, this show, Point of View, is actually going to, it is on Facebook right now. So you guys, if you're listening, could watch it later, but also tune in at 4:30 today, because we're going to be live in Friendship Circle sharing some short stories about some of our awesome fans around Friendship Circle, and also about the game tonight. So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You guys just keep rolling. Let's make
Absolutely.
this thing big.
Absolutely.
Y'all are personalities now.
Yeah.
Start practicing your autographs.
I mean,
Absolutely.
if I'm sitting next to you, how could I not have personality?
Oh my
you know?
gosh!
You just bring it out of me.
I got a headache already.
Very good. Thank you, Coach Scelfo,
Thank y'all
for coming
so much. I
and sharing
appreciate it.
with us about your team and about our team and how we need to get out there and support
Let's
our
go.
team family.
Let's go tonight. Line up, man.
Line up. And thank you for joining us here at Point of View. This is Amber Narro. Come again on Thursdays and Fridays at 11 o'clock for your community's Point of View.